Okay, and I have that set.
Confirm tape line flush to the H2 scoop.
Tape line flush.
Drive H2 16 to 17 turns.
And Goose, do you have eyes on? Oh, so be careful because your red is locked out.
I see it, I see it.
Yeah.
I was moving it out of the way for you, but
yeah.
okay.
No, I'm good in a good position.
Okay.
So what I'll ask you for is from your angle, just to get two different angles on that, make sure the socket's perpendicular.
Another one of those periods where we moved out of range of the satellites that allow us to get video from the International Space Station. Should be getting it back in just a moment. Crew members right in the middle of the installation of that new battery charge discharge unit, the spare that was waiting on board for when it was needed. They are now 3 hours and 26 minutes into today's spacewalk, which is planned to last about 5.5 hours.
Back with you after handover.
Copy. And I just drove it. I'm going to give you 16 turns. Stand by for LED. We had a good green LED, but then as I was retrieving the PGT, I touched the trigger. It went to red, but it had been green. Jessica, you didn't happen to see the torque on there, did you?
I did not.
Okay. To get a torque count, I'd have to hit the bolt one more time. Would you guys like me to do that? I had a green LED, and then I just tapped the trigger when I was retrieving the PGT to read the screen.
And we copy. Christina, thanks for the offer. We would like that.
Okay, I'm going to hit the bolt one more time, and I can confirm the status indicator is in lock.
Copy.
Okay, tape line flush. And I have 9.5 foot-pounds of torque, green LED. An additional turn.
Copy on H2, 9.5 torque, 16 turns, green light, status indicator lock. Same settings for H1,
Confirm.
alpha 7, clockwise 2.
That's one of the bolts done on the new battery charge discharge unit, one to go, and then we can consider that installed. It will be a little while before we get a real indication that everything is good between it and the batteries, probably not until after the spacewalk is done for the day. That'll take a little while for the team here on the ground to verify.
And I have tape line flush, alpha 7, clockwise 2.
Copy. Drive H1, 4 to 5.5 turns.
Copy and mark. Each one is driven, 5 turns, 9.0 foot-pounds of torque, green LED, status indicator is in lock.
Copy on H1, 9 torque, 5 turns, green light, status indicator lock. You can unlock and remove Jessica's red.
Copy. Yeah, you're the got your red. Great.
And with that second bolt now done, the new battery charge discharge unit is installed in the old one's place. It should be ready to start checking out, but as I mentioned, we don't expect to get solid confirmation during the spacewalk that it has fixed the problem we saw after last week's spacewalk to install the new batteries.
An inventory of the crew lock bag.
There's no reason to think that it won't work, but we won't get that confirmation during today's spacewalk.
You can. It's easy in the APFR, so if you want me to do it, I'm glad to do that. Sure. Have you position outboard, and I'll get to it. Okay.
Now that they have gotten that task checked off, they are going to do a quick inventory of their tool bags before they begin on get started on the next task. Christina Koch is going to be carrying that old battery charge discharge unit back to the airlock with Jessica Meir's help.
Okay, crew lock bag inventory if you're ready, Stephanie.
We're ready.
Okay, on the external, I have one large, small, adjustable. Inside, I have one adjustable, that's on the integral ret. I used to have scoops. Another adjustable on the integral. I have a ratchet wrench to a 2-ret series. I have a socket caddy with a 9-inch hex on an internal integral. And I have a long duration tie-down tether. I believe that's it.
Copy checking.
Copy.
Jessica, inside the bag, verify the 6-inch wobble on the ratchet wrench.
6-inch wobble is installed on the ratchet wrench.
Copy that, and we were also expecting one adjustable to 1 ret inside the bag.
There were 2 instances of an adjustable to an integrated ret. Let me see if I've got one more on a regular ret. Stand by.
And Christina, after double checking, we're happy with the tool of the crew lock bag inventory.
Okay, copy that.
Once the bag is buttoned up, Jessica will retrieve that crew lock bag. Christina, you can egress the APFR, and then I'll take a glove, hap, and gauntlet check from you both.
Hey, Jessica, let you have it from here. I can help you by at least getting this ball hook off. Put that on so I could reach it. All right, the crew lock bag is now just on the handrail with that one large small. Okay, copy. And Stephanie, if it's all right with you, would you guys take the glove check now, just so that I'm not, it's just a good position being in the APFR?
Sure, we'll take it now.
Okay, copy. And for EV1's gloves, only minor changes. I just see maybe a little bit more RTV coming off in the areas that it already had on the index finger of the right hand. All else unchanged.
Copy.
Dry hat. That was for down.
Copy dry hat, gauntlets down for EV1.
And for EV2, I've got no change to the gloves, dry hat, and gauntlets are down.
Copy checks EV2, thank you.
I'm going to hold on my egress for EV2 positioning.
Understand.
This will be a delicate egress with the BCDU.
with a good report on those periodic checks of the glove and the gloves that the spacewalkers are wearing, as well as the helmet absorption pad that just allows them to make sure there's no water collecting in their helmets. They are moving now on to the next steps, which for Christina Koch will be to get out of the foot restraint that she was working in to be able to get access to the battery charge discharge unit, and for Jessica Meir, that will be retrieving one of the tool bags that they've been using.
Okay, so to talk about the egress, Jessica, and also the translation back, I believe the next step we're doing is just heading back. We're kind of the opposite way of shepherding this BCDU. But since you'll be outboard as me for the translation home, I am planning to translate in the orientation that you're in right now so that it'll be facing you. Okay. And so I'll be doing kind of a pirouette to get into that position. I would take a little more outboard from you, and then if you could maybe hold your safety tether closer to structure just so that I don't snag it on my way around. Okay, yep. Stand by. How's that? That's good. Are you able to, by any chance, like hold it almost like that so that it's kind of below this lip? Okay, yep. And maybe, I don't know if there's a handrail down there to put 4 minutes on. How about that? Okay, that's perfect. We won't get into any trouble when we're halfway through this. All right, I'm going to eat this. Any requirements for the ingress aid at this time in terms of stowing it, because it's currently not stowed?
Christina, thanks for asking. There are no requirements at this time. We'll come back and get it.
Copy. Ready for me to release my tether back? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I've made the translation just to be aware that the BCDU is, we're close, so it's close to you as well. Okay, I see it. All right. Bethany, we're in formation. We're ready to form fly back.
And we copy. We like it. Friendly reminder to pick up your green hooks. Christina, yours at 5309. Jessica's at 5312. And also, Jessica, as you translate to pass the CETA card, friendly reminder to press the inboard, the brake pedals 2 times.
Okay, copy that, and that's a starboard on both CETA cards, right?
That's affirm.
All right, Jessica, you ready? I'm ready. All right, heading inboard. I see the BCDU in a good position. Copy.
Spacewalkers Christina Koch and Jessica Meir have gotten that old battery charge discharge unit removed and put a new one in its place, and now they're taking that old one back to the airlock. It's going to be returned to Earth on a SpaceX Dragon vehicle. That way, engineers here on the ground can take a close look at it and try and decide what caused its problems so that we can avoid them in the future. So they are both now making their way back to the Quest airlock with that old battery charge discharge unit, and then once they're done with that, they'll begin working on a few other tasks. Christina Koch's going to be tying down some.
PET currently 3 hours 40 minutes, and limiting consumable remains EV1, EV2 battery 7 hours 40 minutes.
Okay, getting closer to the green hook, and we are going to be translating around this. We've been calling the target. Shadow eye on it.
Koch and Meir finished installing that new battery discharge unit at about 10:06 a.m. Central Time, and already the teams here on the ground are saying that they are seeing indications that it is healthy. It'll be several hours of checkouts before that they can really confirm that it's working exactly as it's supposed to, but so far all indications are that the swap was good.
Okay, and I see my green hook. Am your way from retrieving it? I realize there may be. No, you're not. Okay. And I've got my green hook back on.
Copy.
Space station is currently in the dark portion of this orbit around the Earth, and while Meir and Koch make their way back to the airlock, and there's not a great deal to see, we're going to show some more of these well wishes that have been coming in. This one from Meredith, saying that for one on the women who launch on the ground at NASA's Kennedy Space Center, passionate about weather and space, heroes like Meir and Koch above know that you are making all of us women in STEM proud. Enjoy the moment and don't forget to have fun doing it. And this one came in from a fellow astronaut who's already been on the International Space Station, European Space Agency astronaut Tim Peake, wishing Christina and Jessica luck on their spacewalk today as well. And another one, this one from Alexis, wishing them Godspeed, saying so proud of them and that they are an inspiration to his daughter who loves space and is happy to watch. Keep sending those in, and we will keep showing them as we're able to throughout today's broadcast.
And Christina and Jessica, we are 2 minutes to sunrise.
Copy. Mark.
We're also continuing to get a lot of questions using the hashtag AskNASA. We have one now coming from Mrs. Kane, who has a group of fifth graders wanting to know why the crew members need to work on something outside the space station. They definitely do spend the bulk of their time inside working on maintenance inside, as well as, in particular, lots and lots of science experiments. But occasionally things on the outside might break or new things might need to be installed. So that is when we send the crew members outside to do a spacewalk. Anytime we can, we like to do these robotically because spacewalks are one of the most dangerous things that astronauts do. But sometimes that's just not possible, as was the case here. So we sent them out today to repair and replace a battery charge discharge unit that failed following some new battery installations that were conducted last week. That is done now. Again, we got that installation of the new one complete at 10:06, and we are already seeing some good initial checkouts of it here on the ground.
Hold there for a minute. My tether stopped reeling in. Okay, I'm holding. Do that. Maybe give it a tug. Yep, I'm gonna call.
We also have a question from Haley coming in asking when the astronauts are on the side of the Earth opposite of the sun, how are they able to see what they're doing? And that is the case right now, although they are just about to come back into sunlight. But as you can see here, when they do not have the sunlight to work by, they do have lights on their helmets that they're able to turn on as they need to give them light to work by. And we also have one from Mrs. Storm's class asking, are the spacesuits hot or cold, on behalf of her first graders? And the answer is they can be both. The space station and the spacewalkers outside go through periods when it is about 250 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 250 degrees, depending on whether or not they're in the sunlight or not. They get some help dealing with that. Obviously, that would be hard environment to work in. From their spacesuit, they get some protection first of all, and then also they're wearing an undergarment, basically long johns that have plastic threading through them that allows the spacewalkers to turn water on and off to run through it to help them keep at a comfortable temperature.
Jessica, Christina, friendly reminder as you're approaching the MT, translate using handrails.
Seeing a live view from Jessica Meir's helmet camera as she and Christina Koch make their way back towards the airlock with the old failed battery charge discharge unit.
In the standard orientation, since we're coming up on the cedar cart. Okay. You're gonna go feet first. If you go, I think you're gonna need to go feet first. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, go feet first, and it'll say out on your left. Okay. Great.
You can see Meir's view here of Christina Koch. Koch has the old battery charge discharge unit that she is carrying with assistance from Meir as needed. Again, they're going to store it in the airlock so that it can be returned to the ground for a look by engineers.
Right now, the box is up against the cedar cart brakes. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe standard orientation, like head up. I usually, when I go in VMT, I actually always go feet first, coming this direction. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see what you mean with the box. You can get under.
Okay.
Box looks good?
All right. Thank you. Okay, I'm at the MT.
Copy.
Jessica, everything was okay with the box? It does. It's in a perfect position right now. Great. After your left in free space. But my tether's caught up.
My tether, like it's not really reeling in again. We are close to the anchor hook. Give it a little tug. All right, it's reeling in again. How about yours, Jessica?
Yeah, mine just got caught on something here now, but I just got it free, so I'm gonna keep coming under the feeder cart.
Okay, copy.
Copy.
Okay, Stephanie, I'm on the starboard side of this feeder cart, so I'm gonna give the brake pedals a good push.
Copy.
Okay, 2 big pushes all the way to the base plate on the port feeder cart.
Copy.
And I see our anchor point.
Copy.
And I am starboard of the starboard feeder cart.
Copy, Christina.
Goose, I'm showing the ORU, and I'm now head first. When the ORU fins away from me and meter, and kind of out in free space, not interfering with anything.
Okay, copy.
Does that look good to you?
Stand by. Yes, it does. It looks good.
Okay, copy. Thank you.
And Stephanie, I got 2 good pushes on the starboard feeder cart as well. Brake.
Copy. Thanks, Jessica.
Stephanie, since we're passing by the ORU bag, should I grab that to bring it back to the airlock now? I have the crew lock bag.
Checking.
Yeah, I have the crew lock bag already on my BRT. I guess we could do some kind of bundling, but we're going back out again. Can we get it later? Up to you guys.
Jessica, thanks for the offer. We'll pick it up when we come back out.
I'm over the lab port strut.
I see that.
And I'm going to pause Jessica to move it back away from structure.
Okay. Car still looks good.
Copy. Okay, continue.
And then a reminder, I think you're going to keep going starboard, so I'll go down the Cetus spur first.
Okay, I agree. And Stephanie can check us on that, but I agree.
And we concur.
Copy. Okay, onto the Cetus spur handrail where we head down, so I'm going to continue starboard.
Copy.
And I'm clear.
Okay, and I'm at the Cetus spur now. I've got your tether in front of me.
Okay, here, let me continue starboard so that even my tether is out of your way.
Yeah, I think as soon as I go down, it's just going to be above me.
Great view here of the spacewalkers Christina Koch and Jessica Meir making their way starboard from the very end of the port side of the space station's truss, moving towards the airlock.
And maybe when I get to the toolbox, I'll turn around and I'll be able to have a good view of you.
Okay, perfect.
As you can see, it's not exactly a short path to get from that far end to the airlock, but they are just making their way now to the Quest airlock where they'll be able to store that old battery charge discharge unit.
Hey, Christina, I'm at the toolbox. I'm going to get a tether local down, and then I'll get turned around so I can see you.
Copy.
As you can see, Jessica Meir has made her way over to the Quest airlock. Christina Koch still hanging out behind her with the old battery charge discharge unit.
Fair lead on handrail 500. Seeing your safety tether right.
Okay. Call.
You guys all right with that on the ground?
Checking.
You meant for me on 500.
Yep. Okay.
Christina, Jessica, we like your plan.
Copy. That's in place. I didn't say, did it?
Right.
Yeah, it popped off when I came back over here.
Okay, no worries. I'm not the same.
Got a lot of pull. Okay.
Just past the 4-hour mark on today's spacewalk, which is planned to last about 5.5 hours. Crew members have that old battery charge discharge unit removed, new one installed, and now they're getting this old one into the airlock so that it can be returned to the ground. With that, they'll have completed the main task of the spacewalk, getting that change out. But they do have a few get-aheads that they're going to be working on as time permits, including tying down some insulation that would allow the robotic arm to pick up a new battery charge discharge unit if they need another one. And also working to...
I think I'll have a good view of you kind of threading the needle here. Okay.
Working to get some stanchion for an external experiment reinforced a bit on the end of the Columbus module.
Where are you now, Christina?
I'm still on Space 6, just standing by.
Okay, I think I'm ready for you.
Okay, copy that.
Sorry, I thought you were already coming.
No worries, I'm on my way. Just
Okay. Yeah, so right now I've got that fairly on 0500, and then I'm on the starboard toolbox. You should be able to slip down in between, and I can keep an eye on the box.
Great.
With Jessica Meir in place at the airlock and ready to help, Christina Koch's now beginning to make her way off of the station's truss and over to the airlock.
All right, so this is already, I may take your words on clearance to ESP2 or use.
Okay.
I see it's in front of me, so I'm going to pause here at the bend.
See, I'm going to have to reorient so I can see you.
All right, I got my clearance, so I'm going to continue on the Spur. And instead of having it folded back towards me, I kind of have it folded straight out so that it'll just naturally, hopefully, be in the, like you said.
I see you, and I've got a good view now of VSP2.
Okay.
You're clear.
Copy.
I'm just trying to hold my tether out of the way here.
Okay.
And then I think if you Turn the box. That'll work now. You're good. You're clear.
Copy. Continuing.
Okay, and pause there, and you might need to push the box down because it's going to be, right now it's in between the toolbox and ESP2.
Copy. Didn't work.
Getting a good view of why it's difficult to maneuver these large pieces of equipment in microgravity, even though they don't weigh anything.
Put a hand on it.
How's it looking now?
It's good right now if you go straight down.
Okay.
On Earth, the old battery charge discharge unit would weigh about 235 pounds. That's not a problem in space, of course, but it is still bulky and spacewalkers have to be careful not to bang it against any of the sensitive equipment. They have to be moved slowly and carefully from one place to another.
Might just want to keep going down the wagon wheel because, oh, okay, the box is coming up now.
Okay.
It's,
maybe I can push it down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. With your, yeah, there you go. You can get it down below you, otherwise it's going to block your access to the airlock toolbox handrail.
Okay.
Watch that whiff.
Yep.
There you go. Now if you can push it straight down, it'll be clear.
All right. Awesome. I see that.
What are we passing over right now, Stephanie?
Christina, Jessica, we're passing over Southern California.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
My old home. Hello, everybody in San Diego.
Yes, indeed. Hello. Beautiful, that coastline. All right, I'm on the lower part of the wagon wheel, moving in towards the airlock.
Okay, I'll start coming down then as well.
I'm kind of taking the long road around.
That'll be perfect.
Oh, wow, the Baja Peninsula. My favorite things to look at.
Nice.
Wow.
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 That is amazing. Wonder if we can see scripts from here.
I bet we're looking at it.
Yep. Okay, Hannah, I'm right behind you.
All right. And
Christina, when you're in a good position, you can open the thermal cover.
copy. The cover coming open.
And I'm right here on the forward side.
All right.
Copy. For the orientation of the stowage of the unit in the airlock, doghouse zenith, fins facing the aft wall, and the box will be located in the port aft corner of the crew lock. So with that, you can work together to stow the box in the airlock.
Okay, copy that.
And Stephanie, can you remind us, is the crew lock bag going in the airlock at this time too?
It is as well.
Okay, thanks. All right, Christina, what do you think?
I am thinking with where I am and where the box is, I am thinking if I stay aft and orient the RU towards you and you're sort of in the hatchway or just a little bit snugged up from your forward location, then you could be the one to actually do the ret work and sort of getting it into the crew lock. Because it's on my BRT, I feel like if I pop up in there, I'm going to be blocking access.
Okay. Then do you think I should go in there and get the crew lock bag off me first? And I can also pull out the reps that we need.
Yeah, I think that would be a good plan.
Okay.
We like your plan.
Copy. Hello, United States.
30 seconds to a 20-second handover.
Copy.
Okay, I'm going to pop up under here if you want to move a little bit more aft.
Okay.
We're in another one of the short handovers where we don't have a video downlink from the station, but actually it is coming back right now. As soon as it locks up, we should be seeing them again. They are both at the Quest airlock getting that old battery charge discharge unit installed.
Okay, Christina, the crew lock bag, and Christina and Stephanie, the crew lock bag is stowed in the airlock. I'm going to grab the rep for the BCDU.
Copy.
Jessica Meir is inside the Quest airlock right now, and you can also see Christina Koch just behind that soft cover for the airlock, waiting to hand off the old battery charge discharge unit or store it inside the airlock.
H2 is kind of clobbered with my BRT and the other ret. You can either pop it off my ret or off of my BRT, but then we need to maintain control of it, or try to reach the ORU tether point.
Can you just turn around? If you can just roll so that, turn around so that you're holding on with your left hand.
Yep. Peace.
All right, now I wonder, I'm not going to be able to reach it from here, but I wonder if you can on the tether point. If you want, I can get it off your BRT first.
Well, once it's off the BRT, one of us is always going to have to have positive control, so
yeah,
probably want a position for that. How about now? You could probably put it on there now if you want to hand me the ret.
Okay, I've got it.
Airlock.
Got it? Good. Okay. Over to the airlock. Okay, well done. All right. So maybe what we can do is get into a position where we can get it kind of pointed up into the airlock before you take it off your BRT. Yep. And then it'll be just nice gentle push up. So I'm thinking. Okay, I'm just going to try to get out of your way then, unless you want me to hand on it. Right now, I'm behind your play. Okay, I see that. Right, orient it here. Nice. It's directly below the airlock. I move out of the way. Yep, I see it. Let me pull this ret down. Okay, so the ret is kind of on the back of the box right now. Yep, I see that. Can you get up now? Yeah, maybe we can spin it so that side goes in. You know what? I think, how about this? If you grab that scoop right there and then you maintain positive control, I can let go of this BRT, and I think it will separate itself in. So once I let go of the BRT, then we can each just maintain control of it as it separates in. Okay? Depending on who has the reach. Concur. Let me just get my end effector down here. Okay, perfect. Okay. I've got control of it. Okay, I'm releasing it from my BRT. You have control of the ORU? I have control. Careful on that outside edge with your helmet. Okay, copy. I'm releasing my BRT rep. Okay, copy. Okay, I can maintain. I guess we should have your end going in first since that's the red end. So I have control. Okay, you've got control. Okay. I'm going to just slide it up in. Perfect. Nice. I'm going to follow it up in there. Follow it up in and get it parked where it needs to be. Now that it's in the airlock, I think I'm okay to release it. It's just going to shepherd in gently. I agree. Yep, it's on the ret. With that, Stephanie, Christina's heading into show that BCDU. I've already showed the crew lock bag. You want me to here in case you need a hand? I'm assuming it's going to be pretty straightforward now. You want me to head out?
Give us double check your safer handles down.
Okay, copy. I think both my handles are down, Stephanie.
Copy. Thanks for that double check since you ingressed the airlock. I'll also take a glove inspection and a half check.
Okay, copy. Gloves look good, no changes, and my hat is dry.
copy your report, and Jessica, we would like you to hang out here at the airlock.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, and I rearranged the large small rep that the BCBU was on because it was routed around my SCU. It's now in a good config. Fins are facing station aft, and it is on the aft port side of the airlock.
And we copy. That is a good config.
Obvious.
You can egress the airlock, and then after that, double check your safer handles down, and I'll take a glove and hap check.
Copy that. And Jessica, obviously, we don't have it bungeed, so when you come back, we'll just retend it to its intended spot. Okay, copy. Let's see after that. All right, let's make sure tethers are in a good config after all that. Okay, yeah, I'm on the forward side, and I can see that my tether's clear. Okay, I see mine's going around that little spot on the ELC, but that's going to be an easy one to pop off. And I can see your right safer handles down. If you rotate a little bit, I can see your left. You could double check mine. I think I could feel them, but yep, yours are both down. Okay, and also see your right one. It's down. Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to reconfigure for one moment to clean up my BRT after having the BCBU on it.
Copy.
You want us to go ahead and close the thermal cover?
That's affirm.
Okay. Thermal cover's closed.
Copy, cover closed. Christina, Jessica, if you would hold at the airlock. Christina, I'll get the glove and hap check from you in a bit.
A bad view.
Christina, Jessica, we are back with normal communications. Christina, I will take a glove and hep check from you.
Copy that. 3Z1. Change to the glove. And hap is dry.
Copy your checks, Christina. PET is now 4 hours, almost 30 minutes, and limiting consumable remains 7 hours, 40 minutes for EV1 battery.
Copy.
With that, Jessica and Christina, we will have you continue on to perform the tie down. On the BCDU, we'll have you translate to ELC1.
Copy. Okay, Jessica, it looks like I'm heading out, so okay, I'll move further starboard for you. Copy. Thanks, and all your tethers look great. Okay, copy. I'm going to take the wagon wheel route so that I can pull my tether out this ELC 3 minutes around. Okay, copy. So it keeps me a little more deconflicted from yours.
And Jessica, Christina, for this, we'll also send Jessica to start the P6 cleanup. We would like Jessica to lead the translation.
Copy that. Would you mind if we undid the C to spur directionality and the fair leads by, I'm already at the C to spur base. I could move to the C to spur top and then move a little bit starboard and she could head outboard.
We like your plan.
Copy. Good to me. You ready for me to start heading up? Okay. I'm clear of the wagon wheel area.
Whose? Spacewalkers Christina Koch and Jessica Meir now making their way away from the airlock to get started on some get-ahead tasks now that they've got that old battery charge discharge unit safely stowed inside the Quest airlock. The plan is for Christina Koch to go off and tie down some insulation similar to what she removed on the new battery charge discharge unit on an additional spare unit so that it could be picked up by a robotic arm in the future if needed. Meanwhile, Jessica Meir is going to go back to the P6 work site that they were at and do a little bit of cleanup over there. She'll remove the handles that they installed on the new battery charge discharge unit and reinstall them on the nickel hydrogen batteries that they were originally on so that they're ready for their change out when we're able to perform that spacewalk, and also pick up the foot restraint that Christina Koch used at that site.
Stephanie, we are both headed port.
Copy for Jessica. You'll place your green hook on P6 long spacer handrail 5312 and check your gauntlets in place prior to crossing the sarge.
Copy.
We'll take advantage of this quiet moment while the spacewalkers are making their way to their new work sites to answer a few more of the Ask NASA questions that are coming in. We've got one from a 6th and 7th grade class in Orange, New Jersey, wanting to know how astronauts practice using the tools. And we talked a little bit earlier about how they practice spacewalk in general. That all kind of applies for specifically using the tools, although they get some just regular ground practice as well. But they will use those underwater. Then we have a virtual reality lab that they are able to do some practice in. And we have what we call Argos, which basically suspends them and is able to use pulley systems to make them feel as though they are weightless, and then they can try out using the tools that they use on spacewalks and see how being weightless affects their ability to use it. So for instance, if they're using the pistol grip tool, which is like a cordless drill, they would be able to tell that if you are not if you're not anchored, you will spin instead of the drill. So that's the sort of thing that they do want to get some experience on before they are actually in space and doing it for real. And then we also have a question from Mr. Armstrong's Cosmic Journey class, asking how long the new battery discharge unit, charge discharge unit, will last. That's a good question. There's not a set time, but the one that they just replaced lasts for about 19 years. It was installed in 2000 on STS-97. So that is expected to have a good, long life. Doubtful that we would even need to replace it again unless something happens.
And Stephanie, just a report here. I'm over at the at handrail 5312, where I'm going to drop my green hook, and the target, you know, the targets that we were talking about before, the white target with the black. I can actually see the paint flaking off of that, the white paint off of that target. Just starboard of 5312.
We copy, Jessica. Thanks for the report.
And I'm working on my green hook.
Copy, green hook and work.
And Stephanie, I have arrived at the spare BCDU stowage location on ELC-1.
Copy. For the skirt tie down, you'll route a long wire tie through 4 MLI flap tether points, and secure it to the fram. You'll find those on the forward side, and then their zenith side flaps should be 4 of them, and the nadir side flaps.
Okay, copy. I see them.
Stephanie, my green hook's in place on 5312.
Copy, Jessica. Continue translation to the 2B side and retrieve the scoops that are stowed on that charge-discharge unit and stow them on your mini workstation.
Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston. The spacewalkers are continuing to move on to those next tasks. Now that they've got the main task of the spacewalk done, the switch out of the battery charged discharge unit. And we do also want to announce that as a special event to honor the milestone of the first spacewalk to include 2 women, we are going to be expecting a call from the White House at approximately 11:27 a.m. Central Time. Expect President Donald Trump to take part in that from the White House. Again, we are aiming for 11:27 a.m. Central Time for that call from the White House.
Stephanie, I'm starting to route a long wire tie through the 4 nadir MLI skirt loops.
Copy, Christina.
Stephanie, I have those and confirm I am wire tying them to the fram vertical handrail, the nadir one.
That's affirmative.
and that is complete for the nadir.
Copy wire tie complete for the nadir.
And Stephanie, question for you. This APFR, I'm assuming the ingress aid is going to end up being collapsed anyway. I was just going to go ahead and do that now so it's out of my way a little bit more if that's going to be the final orientation of it.
Checking, Christina, you have a question about the ingress aid? Or, sorry, Jessica, on the ingress aid?
Yeah, so I know this is the APFR that I'm going to be relocating, and so I'm just wondering, can I collapse the ingress aids? I was just going to make it lower profile now instead of later, assuming that's what the final config is going to be.
Jessica, if you'd like to make it low profile, now is a good time.
Okay, sounds good.
Crew members continuing through their work as we stand by for what we expect to be a call from the White House coming up at approximately 11:27 a.m. Central Time, about 3 minutes or so from now. We'll be standing by. The crew will be talking to President Donald Trump as well as some others from the White House. Again, we're looking for that to start around 11:27 a.m. Central Time. Hopefully 2 minutes before.
Stephanie, I've got both scoops, so I will bring those over. I'm leaving the APFR for now, right? I'm just bringing the scoops over to 4B?
That's affirmative.
Okay.
30 seconds to a 20-second handover.
Copy. This side of the semi-life skirt is complete.
Copy, you have a wire tied through the zenith side flaps and tied to the handrail.
That's affirmative.
Verify the flaps clear from the fram. Christina, sorry about that. Verify flaps clear from the fram primary bolt and ensure the back of the flaps will not contact.
They are all clear of the fram primary bolt. And when you say the back of the flaps that they will not contact you, I think maybe you cut out. You're going to say they don't contact the heater plate of the ORU storage locations?
That's affirmed. And understand that check is complete?
Okay, and yes, that's affirmative.
And Stephanie, these scoops are both going back on battery 1 and the orientation I found them, which was, I think, the handles away from the radiator, right?
That's affirmative. Battery 1, handles away from the radiator. And we are a minute or so out from our VIP call.
Copy.
Jessica, press your WVS button.
Okay, and work. See a green light?
We have good video.
Stephanie, confirm I am going to now the zenith, but forward handrail, and it's just going to be the 2 flaps on the zenith side, zenith forward side of the, are you?
That's affirmative, and you can use a short wire tie.
Copy. In work.
Hello, everybody. Okay. Thank you very much. I think we're getting...
Christina, Jessica, please stand by for a call from the President of the United States.
Where's my camera?
I guess it's over to you at this point.
Where's my camera? You tell me. Got a lot of cameras.
It is. It's an exciting day.
It
the
is.
first all-women spacewalk underway right now. They're doing very important work. Just so everybody knows, this is a short window for the downlink, and also they've got very busy work to do. They're on the outside of the station, but what a big day. We're thrilled to be here, Mr. President. It's over to you for communicating with them.
Well, I'm thrilled also, and if they're ready, I'm ready.
Okay.
Can we confirm that the link is live?
The link is live. The link is live. They are listening. They're on the outside of the space station.
Station, this is President Donald Trump. Do you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
That's great.
There's
That's great. I was starting to get worried about you. You're in an interesting place. I thought we may have to be a little emergency work. I don't think that'll ever be necessary with you. The job that you do is incredible. And I'm here with Vice President Mike Pence, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine, and my daughter Ivanka. We're thrilled to be speaking live with 2 brave American astronauts who are making history, joining us during their spacewalk outside the International Space Station. And this is the first time for a woman outside of the space station. Our flight engineers, Christina Koch, and flight engineer Jessica Meir. And I just want to congratulate you. What you do is incredible. You're very brave people. I don't think I want to do it. I must tell you that. But you are amazing people. They're conducting the first ever female spacewalk to replace an exterior part of the space station. They're doing some work, and they're doing it in a very high altitude, an altitude that very few people will ever see. Congratulations, Christina and Jessica, on this historic event. This is truly historic, and you're right now on television all over the world, so don't get nervous. I'd like to ask you a question. What would you like to tell everyone listening and watching today, especially young women who are interested in space?
There's about a 4 or 5 second delay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We don't want to take too much credit because there have been many other female spacewalkers before us. This is just the first time that there have been 2 women outside at the same time. And it's really interesting for us. We've talked a lot about it up here. For us, this is really just us doing our job. It's something we've been training for 6 years and preparing for. And so it didn't really, for us, it's just coming out here and doing our job today. And we were the crew that was tasked with this assignment. At the same time, we recognize that it is a historic achievement, and we do, of course, want to give credit to all of those that came before us. There have been a long line of female scientists, explorers, engineers, and astronauts, and we have followed in their footsteps to get us where we are today. We hope that we can provide an inspiration to everybody, not only women, but to everybody that has a dream, that has a big dream, and that is willing to work hard to make that dream come true. Something that all of us that have made our way up here have done all throughout our lives. And I can tell you, the hard work certainly did pay off. I've only been up here a few weeks, actually, about 3 weeks I've been in space, and this is my first flight and my very first spacewalk. So it is a pretty incredible feeling, I'm sure you can all imagine, and it's one that I will never forget. I'm extremely fortunate to be sharing this moment with Christina Koch, who is not only my colleague, but also a very, very close and dear friend. So it's really our honor to be out here working today and to be representing whatever it is that's significant to whatever individual's desires and heart. Thank you.
Well, Christina and Jessica, I would like to, if I could, just thank you. Jessica, I know that you've been doing this and you've been working hard, and Christina, I've studied your resume. It's really incredible what you've done, what you've both done. Your lives have been incredible, and now you're in a place that, as I said, very few people will ever get that experience. You're doing an incredible job. This is a first step because we're going to the moon and then we're going to Mars. We're launching from the moon, most likely. I seem to think that's the best way of doing it, Jim. So we're launching from the moon, and I just want to congratulate you both. You're very brave, brilliant women, and you represent this country so well. And our country is very proud of you, and we are very proud of you. Millions and millions of people are watching you right now, but I will tell you what you do is really something very special. So first the moon, and then we go to Mars. Thank you both very much. Have a good time.
I'm wondering if we might have lost the link at this point. I don't know.
Okay, back to the scoop.
That again was a call from the White House to the spacewalkers on the International Space Station, Christina Koch and Jessica Meir, who are now just under 5 hours into today's historic spacewalk, the first to be conducted by two women. That call again coming from President Donald Trump from the White House, alongside of him Vice President Mike Pence and First Daughter and Special Advisor to the President Ivanka Trump, as well as NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine.
Christina, Jessica, we're resuming normal operational communications.
Copy. Thanks, Stephanie.
And for your...
I wanted to check in with you on next steps and where I'm at. Go ahead.
Just wanted to report RADICOM for the next 5 minutes.
Okay, copy that. I have the MLI skirt flaps tied back with the wire ties to the handrails, and I'm ready for our next step.
Christina.
I believe Jessica's still working the scoop.
Copy. Christina, for you, verify the MLI fence is still in place.
The MLI fence. And Stephanie, back with you about the MLI fence.
from the materials that I looked at, I want to just confirm what you guys are making sure of. Underneath the MOI, I just have the metal frame that the BCU bumper and holder plate attaches to below the actual base of the MOI skirt.
Checking.
Stephanie, first scoop's on, working on the second.
Copy, Jessica. Christina, for the fence check, what we'd like you to do is to look around the perimeter of where the ORU would be placed. And there is a fence, much like a lip, that would be sticking up perpendicular to the FRAM interface. And check that that is pointing up and away from the FRAM. And basically, we're also looking for any interface if we were to do some robotic operations in this area.
Okay, copy.
And I don't see any general issues with any robotics in this area. Skirt is tied back, and I'm still not 100% able to confirm the position of the MOI fence. And can you confirm this is something that goes around the entire perimeter? And is it something that is going to be at the interface between BCDU and its frame and bumpers and the FRAM? Or is it between the FRAM and the ELC?
Checking. And Christine, an additional check or way to think about it might be that if the fence is not in the way of any robotic operation to install another ORU onto that FRAM, then that is a good fence position.
Okay, copy that.
5 seconds to 20-second handover.
APFR. I think so. Well. I'm going to take a look out here then, Christina. I've got both beacons on, and the handles are away from the radiator. And I think I will start transiting back to 4B. I'm back to 4B. Heading back to 4B? 2B, sorry. Okay. I'm at 4B. Okay, yeah. No, good. That's I'm glad.
Christina, we copy scoops installed on battery 1 on the, Jessica, sorry about that, on the 4 Bravo side. We would like the gap spanner you reported earlier that you snugged up. We would like a 180-degree check of the turnbuckle on that gap spanner.
Okay, copy. I did that before. It is actually loose again. I think it's coming loose when I translate on it. So I'm happy to tighten it up again and give it that test, or do you want me to leave it as is?
Jessica, we would like you to leave it as is. Thanks for the report.
Okay, you're welcome. So with that, Stephanie, I'll head back to the 2 Bravo side. And are we thinking EPFR with inspections or go back to the MDM?
We're discussing, Jessica.
Okay, copy. Either way, I can start translating back to 2B, right, because I'm finished out here at 4B. Because the only reason I could think you might stay on 4B would be if you were to translate outboard from that side to do the whiff inspections of 5 and 8 using the APFR that's right there by them. Yeah. But that's one possibility of what they might have you do. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the priority or not. Right. I will hang.
Jessica, we'd like you to skip those whiff inspections. We are ready for you to translate over to the 2B side.
Okay, copy. And Stephanie, if you aren't busy in those discussions, I'm ready to report about the robotics and the MLI fence.
Christina, we'll take your report.
Okay. I can see that nothing is protruding over the black plate that is mounted to the frame on top of the frame. That's the silver plate that has the bumpers on it into which the VCU is installed. And I can also see that there's nothing interfering in the area of the primary bolt for the frame itself.
We copy the report. And we're discussing.
Yeah, I am at 2B, and I'm at the APFR at with 38. So I'll just need next steps if I'm to continue inboard or do anything else out here.
Jessica, hold here.
Oh, we are 5 hours and 10 minutes into today's spacewalk by Christina Koch and Jessica Meir. They are working their way through some follow-up tasks to today's change-out of the battery charge-discharge unit. Christina Koch's been working to get some insulation that was on another spare unit out of the way so that it could be picked up by the robotic arm, while Jessica Meir has worked on kind of cleaning up the work site that they were out way up on the P6 segment of the truss. While they work through that, we are actually going to give you a replay of today's call from the White House. That's going to be coming up next here on NASA TV. This is Mission Control Houston.
The job that you do is incredible. And I'm here with Vice President Mike Pence, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine, and my daughter Ivanka. We're thrilled to be speaking live with two brave American astronauts who are making history, joining us during their spacewalk outside the International Space Station. And this is the first time for a woman outside of the space station. Our flight engineers, Christina Koch and flight engineer Jessica Meir. And I just want to congratulate you. What you do is incredible. You're very brave people. I don't think I want to do it. I must tell you that. But you are amazing people. They're conducting the first ever female spacewalk to replace an exterior part of the space station. They're doing some work, and they're doing it in a very high altitude, an altitude that very few people will ever see. Congratulations, Christina and Jessica, on this historic event. This is truly historic, and you're right now on television all over the world, so don't get nervous. I'd like to ask you a question. What would you like to tell everyone listening and watching today, especially young women who are interested in space?
There's about a 4 or 5 second delay.
Ah, okay.
Thank you. Thank you. We don't want to take too much credit because there have been many other female spacewalkers before us. This is just the first time that there have been two women outside at the same time. And it's really interesting for us. We've talked a lot about it up here. For us, this is really just us doing our job. It's something we've been training for 6 years and preparing for. And so it didn't really, for us, it's just coming out here and doing our job today. And we were the crew that was tasked with this assignment. At the same time, we recognize that it is a historic achievement. And we do, of course, want to give credit to all of those that came before us. There have been a long line of female scientists, explorers, engineers, and astronauts, and we have followed in their footsteps to get us where we are today. We hope that we can provide an inspiration to everybody, not only women, but to everybody that has a dream, that has a big dream, and that is willing to work hard to make that dream come true. Something that all of us that have made our way up here have done all throughout our lives. And I can tell you, the hard work certainly did pay off. I've only been up here a few weeks, actually, about 3 weeks I've been in space, and this is my first flight and my very first spacewalk. So it is a pretty incredible feeling, I'm sure you can all imagine, and it's one that I will never forget. I'm extremely fortunate to be sharing this moment with Christina Koch, who is not only my colleague, but also a very, very close and dear friend. So it's really our honor to be out here working today and to be representing whatever it is that's significant to whatever individual's desires and heart. Thank you.
Well, Christina and Jessica, I would like to, if I could, just thank you. Jessica, I know that you've been doing this and you've been working hard, and Christina, I've studied your resume. It's really incredible what you've done, what you've both done. Your lives have been incredible, and now you're in a place that, as I said, very few people will ever get that experience. You're doing an incredible job. This is a first step because we're going to the moon, and then we're going to Mars. We're launching from the moon, most likely. I seem to think that's the best way of doing it, Jim. So we're launching from the moon, and I just want to congratulate you both. You're very brave, brilliant women, and you represent this country so well. and our country is very proud of you, and we are very proud of you. Millions and millions of people are watching you right now, but I will tell you what you do is really something very special. So first the moon, and then we go to Mars. Thank you both very much. Have a good time.
That again was today's call earlier from the White House that took place to the crew spacewalking today, Christina Koch and Jessica Meir. And it took place a little bit after 11:30 a.m. Central Time, coming directly from the White House. And as you can see, now we are joined by astronaut Anne McClain, who is the most recent person on Earth to have done a spacewalk. So we appreciate you coming to talk with us, Anne.
It's great to be here this morning.
And just like this morning when we had Tracy Caldwell-Dyson on, we will plan to keep following along with the spacewalk. You won't miss anything, but I think Anne will be able to provide a little bit of extra information for us.
We concur. Thanks for the report.
And Stephanie, Christina with you. I am about to cross the SARD, so I wanted to report my gauntlets are down. But I also had another report about my gauntlets. I'm not sure if you have WVS. But there is some discoloration, gray discoloration on my left gauntlet. I believe this may have happened even as far back as the SSRMS and Lee operations. Let me know if that's a good view for you guys.
And we copy, and please press your WVS button.
Didn't work.
So, Anne, maybe we can actually jump right in with that, and you can tell us a little bit about the gauntlet checks. We've talked about glove checks they do and the helmet checks to make sure there's no water, but we haven't talked about the gauntlet checks yet.
Sure, we check the gauntlets as we're translating around the space station. The gauntlets are actually the materials that cover the wrist rings, and the wrist rings are the hard connections that connect the gloves to the lower arms. And it's important that those are in place as we're crossing certain areas of the space station, particularly the SARJ, the solar alpha rotating joint, because we don't want metal on metal contact. And what Christina was just reporting there was a little bit of discoloration on the material of the gauntlet. And that's a concern just for the ground teams to look at because the thermal properties on the whole suit are the most important. So the spacesuits are a white color. And so discoloration can actually create a thermal pocket on that discoloration just by being a different color. And so our ground teams will kind of look through, what that could be on her suit. But it's a pretty normal occurrence for us to come back in a little bit dirty, but they do track it.
That makes sense.
Christina, thanks for the WVS video and for the report on your gauntlets. We're continuing to discuss it, but at this point you can continue.
So at this point, the crew is 5 hours and 18 minutes into today's spacewalk. It was planned for 5.5 hours, but not unusual to go a little bit longer than expected.
I know you're heading inboard. What's your location? Is there a good cross point for us? I am at my green.
Yeah, a lot of times when we're out on spacewalks, you'll hear the plan tasks and the get-ahead tasks, and we do actually plan to get ahead. It takes a lot of effort to get these crew members out the door, up on station. We're doing suit maintenance for weeks beforehand. On the ground, they're doing the plans and configurations for the outside of the space station to make it safe for the spacewalkers and to get the equipment ready for whatever repair work that they're doing. And so once the two crew are out there, it's really important to get the maximum work possible. And so we're always looking at the time, crew member fatigue, consumables. You'll hear things like battery, so they'll look at those times, they'll balance it with the crew, and they'll make a decision for how long to go. But as you said, we're coming up on 5 hours and 20 minutes of this spacewalk, and we'll see how much more they can get done.
I'm pausing here to pick up my green hook anyway, so.
Christina, Jessica, we've discussed it, and since you're both be in the same area, we'd like you both to wait for Christina also to arrive at P4 to retrieve that APFR, and then you can both head inboard with Christina leading.
Copy all.
Christina, Jessica, just for your information, we show PET 5 hours, 20 minutes, limiting consumable remains 7 hours, 40 minutes for EV1 battery.
Copy all. Copy, and I've got my green hook.
Copy.
I'll continue inboard to Christina.
Copy.
So, and when Tracy Caldwell-Dawson was here with us earlier, it was at the beginning of the spacewalk. Everybody was very fresh, and we were talking about what it would be like to head out the hatch. 5.5 hours into the spacewalk, how are you feeling?
Yeah, the spacewalk actually goes quicker for the spacewalkers than I think it does sometimes for the ground crew. We're so focused on the tasks when we're out there. So Christina and Jessica right now are really just focused on where their equipment is, what the task is, where they're going, and to really make this time efficient to try to get the maximum done as possible. It is very fatiguing. It's the metabolic rate of the crew when they're outside. It's physically and mentally taxing. It can be the metabolic equivalent of running a marathon. So they're getting toward the 20th mile of a marathon here. And but one of the things that they're trained to do very well is to hone in more mentally when they're physically tired. So you're going to hear them being very deliberate about their calls, very clear with the ground, and the ground's going to be very clear with them on the instruction. And they're going to talk through and think through everything more deliberately than perhaps they did at the beginning of the spacewalk. The good part is that the nerves have calmed down a little bit. On your first spacewalk, first time out there, your heart can really pound when you go out the hatch. But by this time, they're both feeling really comfortable out there and really just focus on the tasks.
They've done a great job of getting through the tasks so far. Again, they did get that battery charge discharge unit switched out. They've got the new one in place, and early checks show that it looked good.
And Christina, okay,
Copy.
I can see your safety feather. Yeah, okay, yep, just got it loose. Now it's, if you translate toward your feet. Yep, that's what I was just thinking. Okay, perfect. And you're clear of it now. Okay, great. Thanks. You saved me.
Christina, a question. Christina, a question on the gray discoloration of your gauntlets. Can you tell us, does it appear to be a smudge, or have you seen any flaking or liberation?
Flaking or liberation, this looks actually like a stain at this point. There's nothing physically on the gloves that I can see.
Yeah, and I've got a really good view of it too. It's the same exact color as the gray from the RTV. But yeah, it almost looks like it's kind of just painted on there now.
Yeah.
It's not flaky or anything. It's just really...
There's no substance. If there had been, it has since dried or sublimated off. It's just what's left is just discoloration. It appears to me anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
We copy. Thank you both for the report.
See you at the port seater cart?
Yep.
And Stephanie, I think it's was the Nader starboard with 2 where I'm putting my APFR?
It is with 2, clocking of 6.
Okay, copy. Getting to the port feeder cart now, so that will be in work.
Copy.
Since we have a quiet moment from the spacewalkers and an expert here to answer it, we're going to take some of the Ask NASA questions that have been coming in. Thanks for sending those in today.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
This next one coming in from Molly, asking, what is the equipment on your backs?
Yeah, the big white blocks that you see on both of the spacewalkers' backs, those are called the PLIS, the Portable Life Support Systems, and that is the kind of the engine of the whole spacesuit. Rather than thinking of the spacesuit as an outfit that you put on, think of it more as a very small aircraft or spacecraft that you're getting into. And so that's the engine of the spacecraft, and that provides everything that the human body needs to stay alive. As you mentioned before, the temperature can swing outside the space station depending if you're in the sun or the shade by about a total of about 400 degrees. And so a big part of that life support system is the cooling. It also provides, it's where the battery is kept that provides all the electric power to the suit. Things that require electric power are like your glove heaters, lights, and then it also provides liquid cooling. So there's a sublimator there that actually cools the liquid that is in the suit, and the spacewalkers are wearing somewhat of a long john underneath the suits, and very small tubes of water are passed through it. And so the pump in the water originates in the backpack and moves through the spacewalker's body. Attached to the PLIS on the back is what we call the SAFER, which is a simplified aid for EVA rescue, and it consists of, it's the safety element. So if the spacewalker were to come off of structure and without a tether, it's basically a small jetpack that allows them to fly themselves back to station.
We'll keep going with another question from Samantha Johnson, this time asking, how big is the space station?
Press affirm, Jessica, clocking 6.
And the space station, when you look up at it from the Earth, it just looks like a little tiny dot up in the sky, but it's actually quite enormous. If you laid the space station over an American football field, it would be about the same size. So the solar arrays that you kind of see sometimes in the background of these views would lay over the end zone, and they're about 50 meters wide. And the livable space of the space station are the round components that you see, and that's probably about 3,500 square feet inside.
Copy. Double check wire tie tucked under the boot plate.
It is tucked. Stephanie, I can report the same clocking of 6, black on black, good pull twist test, and I do see the wire tie.
Copy, Jessica. Both good checks for you both. For Jessica, the remainder of the settings, Romeo, Romeo, Fox 6.
Romeo, Romeo, Fox 6, copy.
Good readback for Christina, the remainder of the settings, Yankee, Yankee, Delta 12.
Work.
Both spacewalkers right now are working on checking out some worksite interfaces that are used, for instance, to install the foot restraints they use at the work sites, and so they are both testing those out by putting the foot restraints they've been using in and just making sure that they are working as expected. So far, all looking good, and we are now at the 5-hour and 30-minute mark. That's how long today's spacewalk was scheduled to last, but things are going well, so the spacewalkers are going to keep working for a little while. Great view here from Jessica Meir's helmet camera looking down at the Pacific Ocean. Space station's heading northeast towards, looks like they'll hit the coast around the border between the U.S. and Canada. So Anna, I feel like this is a pretty good view, but how does it compare to the real thing?
There is no words and no pictures that can describe or prepare you for the moment that you look out at the Earth and the outside of the space station during an EVA. You know, these spacewalkers there's not, the only thing that separates them from the vacuum of space is their visor right in front of their face, which just provides this amazing view. And if there was a word for the opposite of claustrophobia, that's kind of how you feel. You know, it's the most infinite void that you can possibly imagine. And what's really interesting about it is that Earth is actually the closest thing to you. So looking at Earth, you feel very close and connected to Earth. And the significant sensation for me, of course it's different for everybody, the significant sensation for me was when I looked away from Earth and you realize how much more there is to explore, how much further we can go. And it's just really incredible to be kind of attached to Earth by gravity, holding onto the space station during these EVAs.
Copy, those are good settings. And Jessica, as you continue to translate inboard, we'll also take that brake check on the CETA carts for the inboard brake pedals, depressing them 2 times. Christina, Jessica, PET is currently 5 hours, 30 minutes. What we were thinking, and we'd like to get your assessment, is that if we were to go after the TSOP task, we show that at about 40 minutes, and we'd have Jessica work the MDM and perhaps some of the CP13. That would have us finishing up at about, finishing those tasks at about 6 hours, 15 minutes, with an EVA duration of 6 hours, 40 minutes.
And for me, that sounds like a good plan. That also sounds fine to me. And a good brake release on the port CETA cart.
Copy. Do you both like the plan? And copy, Jessica, good brake release on the port CETA cart.
And Stephanie, I can confirm this ATFR is in Yankee, Yankee, Delta. Delta 12. I'm looking at the other side of the group plate.
Copy that. Yankee, Yankee, Delta 12. Thank you. With that, you can both continue translating inboard. Jessica can stop at the MDM work site. Christina, the medium ORU bag is stowed there. You can pick that up and bring that to the airlock as you retrieve crew lock bag number 3 with the TSOP hardware.
Okay, and just a count, I am at the starboard space flight still, so stand by 1. I see it, and I'm pausing here.
That call from Capcom Stephanie Wilson giving the spacewalkers a preview of what to expect. They are officially beyond the planned time for the spacewalk, but good to keep going. Planned for now as long as a 6-hour and 40-minute spacewalk, which is about the normal time that most spacewalks last.
Okay, copy.
So for the next task on their list, Jessica Meir is going to be going back to that multiplexer, demultiplexer box where she was headed to this morning, but got called away to catch up with Christina Koch on her way to the P4 work site. Going back to disconnect an Ethernet cable and get it tied down. And then Christina Koch is going to work on one of the get-aheads for the space station, installing a primary trunnion slip-off prevention on what will eventually hold the Bartolomeo platform on the end of the Columbus module. That's going to be a platform for experiments on the outside of the space station that'll be launching next year. And this is going to be a support mechanism that gives it a little bit of extra support on the trunnion, the place where they install it, before that platform does get installed.
And Stephanie, say again where... Oh, I've got the medium RU bag. It's it. Yep. Right in front of me. A little bit farther.
Copy.
Christina, the GoPro is still hanging outside of it. Okay. Thank you.
Once again, we are past the planned duration of the spacewalk, but Capcom Stephanie Wilson called up to the crew a few moments ago that they have the go-ahead to keep working, and they agreed that they were okay with that. Is that generally, you think, welcome news for crew members to get extra time outside?
Yeah, absolutely. It really depends on the tasks and how fatigued the crew are. But the crew, if they felt like they wanted to go back inside, they definitely would have said it. These guys sound really excited to keep on going. I think they're having a lot of fun out there.
Copy, Jessica. There is one caution. Avoid inadvertent contact with deployed tusk cable and passive UMAs.
Copy. I remember reading that caution.
I am glad that you remember it.
Now that we're undoing the work. Okay, and I am headed towards the sea to spur. The medium RU bag.
Copy, Christina. Jessica, you can retrieve the caps from your trash bag.
Copy. I'm just going to get a BRT down here, and then I'll get to work.
Copy that.
Stephanie, I've got the caps out of my trash bag. Do I have a go to demate the cable?
Is the label on the MDM 16 Echo 0105?
Affirm.
Copy. You can demate Whiskey 0087P1 from that MDM.
Okay, copy, in work. Stephanie, thermal cover is open.
Copy, Christina, thermal cover open.
View here of Jessica Meir getting to work on that Ethernet cable that she's disconnecting and then tying down. And you can also see here the tether that she's got attached to her. It's maybe longer than you'd expect. I always think of it as just tied to the closest thing to them, but that doesn't look like what it is.
Yeah, there's actually a couple different types of tethers that we use when we're outside of the space station. And the two that you see, this is a great shot of both of them. The one that goes directly to Jessica right now is her 85-foot safety tether. And right below that tether, you can see where Christina's is. And those, I always call them kind of the retractable dog leash, is what they basically are. They're 85-foot tethers. We use 2 in a pack, so you can go out twice as far. And the base of the tether is usually at the airlock, but because this crew had to go so far out, they actually base their tethers at a different location than the airlock. And those tethers are always attached. And you'll hear them often talking about their safety tethers and the positioning of it. It's really important to us that those don't get caught on anything. First of all, we don't want to break equipment, but most importantly, those are our primary safety lines to the space station. Now, they do impart a little bit of a force on the spacewalkers, and so when we get to a work site like Jessica is right now, we'll put down what's called a local tether, and that's about 3 feet long, and it keeps us in the workplace that we are right then. And so if Jessica was to let go of the space station with no other tether attached, that very long tether would actually slowly just pull her back to the anchor point.
That sounds handy.
Out of your trash bag, and in that case, then we'd like you to try to capture that O-ring and place it in your trash bag.
Okay, copy, in work. Medium review bag is in the airlock, going for the ahead crew left bag.
Copy.
And Stephanie, I have the cap on the cable side, so I'm going to use that ret to try to get that O-ring.
Copy.
And I got it. Got it on the ret. I will get that in my trash bag, and then I'll go ahead and just put the jack, or put the plug on there.
Copy. Nice work.
Okay.
You hear from Jessica Meir's helmet camera. She's been working to disconnect and then tie down an Ethernet cable that's on a multiplexer, demultiplexer. She'll be working, if time permits, with another Ethernet cable as well, getting one routed to a video camera on the International Space Station's exterior. Meanwhile, Christina Koch has made her way to the airlock and is now moving away from it, having switched out a tool bag. She'll be going over to the Columbus module from here to install that stanchion support.
Work on the wire tie
Copy?
Stephanie, for EV1, I've retrieved the crew out guide from the airlock. Thermal covers, cover closed.
Copy. After that, check your safer handles down.
And EV1, safer handles are down.
Copy, Christina. With that, you can translate to Columbus. I'll join you after the handover.
Stephanie, this is EV1. I'll copy.
Got you loud and clear after the handover. Sorry about that.
Oh, great, no worries.
Yes, you can.
I reported my safer handles are down, and I'm ready for next step.
Yes, and we copy. You're in a good config. We copy thermal cover closed. You can translate to Columbus. Translate port on face 1 to mile marker 7590. Then nadir on the starboard lab strut to handrail 252. And I'll have more words for you there.
Copy that. And Stephanie, I've got the wire tie on the cable. I did not use one of my own. I just used the one that Christina had placed on the other cable.
And we copy. Thanks for the report. That's a good config. You can egress the truss, check your safer handles down.
Jessica, we can do a two-way safer handle check if you want, because similar to you, I wouldn't mind a pair of eyes.
I see you coming. Do you see mine right now?
Okay.
I see yours.
See your left one. Let's take a look for your right one.
I can see your PTT is blocking your right one right now.
Okay. Yeah, that may be the case. You see it? It's
down. Yep.
Okay.
It's spin the other way, and I can see your left, and that's down as well.
Okay, and I'll look for yours. I got that one. I'll take the one behind PGT. It is also down.
Okay, thank you. So, Stephanie, we are both here at the same location at the MDM. I'm finished with the work here, so you know what you suggest.
Checking.
All right, I think I can get by you, Jessica. No. That turns at work site.
Okay.
And at this point, we'd like Jessica to translate first to the CP13 location, and then Christina is clear to translate to Columbus.
Okay, so I will move farther port, Jessica, so that you can head down.
Okay.
And is she taking the starboard seat?
Yeah.
The starboard bob? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Out of the way. All right, thanks.
Christina, Jessica, please hold your translation. After further discussion, we'd like Jessica's tether to go over Christina's.
Okay, I'm already down on the lab. And I can see my tether running straight back to the point now. So do we need to do a switch here? I do see that they are crossed. I'm not sure if Christina progresses.
We're checking. Please stand by.
Yeah. Okay.
Seems like if I were to just go, if you were to move forward on the port side of the lab, and I were to head down and stay starboard.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make a difference. There is a twist there. I don't know if you can see it. Past those two boxes.
No, I can't. I can see where it comes together at those boxes.
Yeah, so it's right behind that. And it's not, it might not be a twist. I think that mine is just underneath yours.
Jessica, Christina, if the two of you can see your tethers, we're happy for you to manage it as you see fit.
Okay. So yeah, Christina, I can see it. I think that mine is just under yours, and I don't think since we're both going out from here, it's going to make a difference. When we go back to clean up the tethers, we'll just have to double check that.
Yeah, you can just spin one around the other when you remove one of the big hooks.
Right. Okay. So
from what you're seeing, if I were to come down from starboard and just head forward, saying that looks okay? From your view of the...
I think so. Hold on. Let me take another look.
I can start moving in that direction to kind of get a feel for what they would do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't really see it now. But I think you're pulling mine right now. See what's happening with my tether? Pulling behind my back. I think that might be because you're moving yours.
I just don't have the clarity to tell if that's a full twist or...
Christina, Jessica, if you're comfortable, we feel we can work with this during cleanup. And if you're comfortable with that, then you can press ahead toward the tasks.
I am comfortable with that. What I would like to do is just reevaluate once I get forward, Jessica, and make sure that because this config, no, she's not going to be snagging mine a lot. And then Jessica, since you're cleaning up, it sounds like you are comfortable with us carrying any twists back and then doing them at that time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can tell that like my tether's behaving really strangely right now because it's from that twist point. It's with your tether there, it's kind of bobbing around.
Maybe once I move forward of you, the twist will move towards us and we can get better eyes on it.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to continue to move forward on the starboard side, and I'll make sure that my tether stays over you. And get caught on the back of your foot.
Okay, copy.
And yes, it does appear to just be not a twist, but yours is just over mine. And once I move forward, I think they'll stop pulling.
Okay, but can you see mine right now?
I can. It's coming off of your left side, straight back to the tether point.
Off my left side?
Yeah, so it's coming, it's like in front of you, it is from your right steering center, but, across your body.
Was it behind me?
It's not behind your back, but it's just off of your left side. So, for example, if you put your feet towards it, it would come down in front of you, and then if you wanted it on your right side, you could put your feet back down.
Christina, Jessica, 1, 2, 2 are stable at your task locations. I'll take a glove and a half check.
Copy. And Stephanie, were you going to talk me along my translation path? I am currently at the forward side of the lab encode.
Yes, and if you're close to handrail 0271, you translate starboard and nadir to lab handrail 0272, and then forward to node 2, and then forward onto node 2.
Copy. Okay, I have eyes on that.
And Christina, one more second on my safety tether. So I think it's wrapped around me right now, right? So I get to spin my legs around.
Let me get eyes on, one moment. It's just off of your left side. So it's not around you. It's off of your left side and towards the back. If you, for example, put your feet towards structure and towards the truss, and now kick them up, there it goes.
There it goes. Okay, I see it. Perfect. I see it now. Thanks.
Yep. And now ours are deconflicted, so they're not crossing. Once I move forward, they won't be crossing, but they're just going to each, there will be, one will be over the other, but just by virtue of where the anchors are.
Okay, copy.
I think I also see that Jessica, when you go back to the anchors, it looks like yours is also just around a couple boxes that are right underneath the CETA rail. So just be mindful of that when you go back that way.
Okay, copy.
And it's right over, over PMM. When you're over PMM, just look and pop your safety tether off of those.
Okay, copy.
And I am on node 2.
Copy, Christina. Once you see node 2 handrail 332, then you'll translate forward along the gap spanner to node 2 handrail 345. That's the green hook location.
See inward.
Stephanie, I'm at 288, and I think I see the cable I'm looking for. It's labeled wire tie CP13, Whiskey Tango CP13.
That's all right. CP13, wire tie CP13.
Okay, so it looks like I just need to take off this one wire tie, and it is integral on the cable. Is that what you're expecting?
That's affirmed, Jessica, and there are 3 cautions. Avoid inadvertent contact with a wet stanchion. Do not use EWC antennas as handholds. Avoid inadvertent contact with the CETA light.
Copy.
So, Anne, you were just saying that this is looking a little familiar?
That is very familiar work site. The bundle that Jessica is picking up right now is actually the last task that I did on my last spacewalk back in April. So we attached just over where Jessica's head is right now at the front of the lab, we attach the base of that cable, and she's going to be picking up that bundle and moving it all the way back to what we call the rat's nest on the aft side of the lab. And so it is kind of fun watching a task that you left out there and seeing somebody go pick it up. So, and now she'll kind of move along the port side of the lab back to the rat's nest, which got its name because of all the cable connections that are back there. So you have to be very careful when you do the translation that she's about to do.
When you say that you're just wire tying something down, that sounds really simple, but I'm guessing that in the gloves, that makes it a little more difficult.
Yes, actually, putting cables down can be really exhausting on the hands. Part of the most complicated part of the spacesuit design is actually the gloves, because they are pressurized just like the rest of the suit. And so these gloves, if you relax your fingers, you're going to see the fingers go forward at about 45 degrees, which means in order to either fully open or fully close the hands requires force by the spacewalkers. And so when you watch these two spacewalkers translate, you'll actually notice that they don't grab onto the handrail. They often just tuck their hand behind a handrail, and that prevents them, that kind of saves their hands over this many hour-long spacewalk. It saves their hand fatigue. And so what Jessica is going to be doing is installing wire ties, which are just basically kind of like little twist ties. Well, they're large twist ties. And so she's going to put the cable down next to a handrail and then use one of those metal wire ties to create twists. You're going to hear her call 3 twists, and that's what we've determined is a safe configuration that will that'll keep that cable onto the handrail for a long period of time. So you'll hear her call 3 twists, and then she'll kind of tuck it down so it's a low profile so that the next spacewalker that comes out can still use that handrail.
For my translation here, I know I need to get it along the zenith on the end cone and underneath that cable tray, but I don't think I can translate there because of all the, without the gap spanner, I don't think I can get over the cable tray. So I've got the cable with me, and I've let out some of the wire ties. So I'm going to translate back over the cable tray and then go forward. Was that what you guys were envisioning?
Checking.
Stephanie, I'll give you the glove and hat when I'm in place on the Columbus side, kind of starboard end, if that's all right with you.
That works, Christina. Thank you.
Happy.
To give you a little more on that, Stephanie, what I'm thinking is I'm going to go over the cable tray, then go forward on those handrails, and then I'll go back port a bit, and I'll be able to pass the cable rail under the tray from the other side.
Jessica, we like your plan.
Okay.
Jessica had eyes on that face each other. They are crossed close to the area where they're behind some boxes under the cedar rail. That's just starboard of the starboard seated cart, so no change to the config that we had when we first came out and that we're expecting to clean up when you do face each other at the end.
Okay, copy.
You were talking about a little bit about how the gloves are to work in. We actually have a question from a someone online who's following along. This one is from Denise, and her class would like to know how the gloves work. They actually are asking if they're magnetic, which I guess would be useful.
Yeah, that is actually a great idea. We should look into that. But this version of the gloves are not magnetic. They fit like a puffy ski glove would. However, they're very complicated inside. As I kind of mentioned, your hands get very fatigued over a long period of time. So the better the gloves can fit, the better you're going to be able to work. So they actually work just like a normal glove, which means it's your hand inside that's moving the gloves.
No special tricks.
No special tricks, unfortunately. But they are an extremely important part of the spacesuit, especially to prevent from any cuts. And so you hear them often doing glove checks, and that's because, as you can see, these spacewalkers are touching and grabbing a lot of different things on the space station. And the space station was designed not to have any sharp edges that could cut a glove, but over time, micrometeoroid strikes can cause sharp edges on the outside of space station. So we're very aware of inadvertently getting a cut in those gloves. And you see the gray layer on their palms. That's actually part of a triple protection system on their palms. And so on the closest to their hand is what we call the Vectran, and that's kind of a very tightly woven material that prevents from cuts. On the high wear areas, mainly on the pointer finger and the thumb, and some of the finger crotches, we have what we call turtle skin, which is another reinforced layer to prevent cuts. And then the outside rubber layer is the RTV. And so there's different criteria that the safety folks on the ground here track on what's allowable damage on a glove during an EVA. They do inspections beforehand, inspections afterwards. And they are pressurized gloves. And so we also have a palm bar that's just basically a bar that goes right across the palm of the hand that you can tighten down. That gives you kind of a fulcrum that you can bend your hand over. So it's not exactly like working on the ground, but they are pretty fantastic design. They are one of the most tricky parts to design and size for spacesuit designers. And actually inside every single one of those fingers, at every finger joint, they can adjust the sizing on it down to the millimeter. So each of these gloves are custom made and custom sized for the astronauts.
They just need magnets.
If they could add magnets, then that might be great.
Table tray.
Copy, Jessica. Understand you're at handrail 269 and working the routing.
Still seeing a view here from Jessica Meir's helmet camera, looking at that Ethernet cable that she's working to tie down. I'm going to be routing it over to a video stanchion support assembly where one of the video cameras on the exterior of the space station is.
Jessica, for the cable routing, we show PET at 6 hours, about 7 minutes, and we're thinking ahead to clean up and ingress. What we'd like to do because of the time is to help alleviate any problems early. At this point, we'd like you to tie off the wire cable that you're working so diligently to route, and then head back towards yours and Christina's tethers and take a look at them and see if there's anything that needs to be done to straighten them out.
Okay, copy. Stephanie, I have the crew lock bag on 938, and I am also BRT to 938.
Copy, Christina. There's a warning and a caution. Minimize extended contact with exposed trunnion and scuff plates. Maintain positive inward force on bolts while installing. Pulling the T-stop away from structure could prematurely engage the bolt lockout mechanism.
Copy. Stephanie, I've got the cable routed underneath the cable tray, and I'll get it on a wire tie on 269, which I believe was the first spot for it anyway.
Jessica, we like your plan. Christina, you'll need to do a socket swap onto the 7-inch rigid.
A little bit, but I believe I'm putting the 5/16 on my PGT.
That's right, 5/16 by 7-inch rigid socket on your PGT.
North. At the 6-inch install on the socket caddy did pull test.
Copy, ret to and retrieve the T-stop using one of your mini workstation ruts.
Okay. And I'm still working on getting the swap onto the PGT. That was just removal of the one that was on the PGT.
Copy. Thanks for the clarification.
Okay, Stephanie, and the cable is secure on handrail 269.
Copy, Jessica.
Okay, the 5/16 7-inch rigid is installed in the PGT. Good full test. And I'm going for the T-sub.
Copy, Christina.
Stephanie, should I just translate back the way I came and then head up to the truss via the starboard strut?
Checking. Jessica, that's correct. Translate back following your safety tether. Let us know if you encounter anything along the way.
Okay, copy.
Jessica Meir getting that wire bundle tied down in somewhere between where it started and where she was heading to give her time to work out, check out her tethers before she needs to head back to the airlock.
Ball down the field.
Meanwhile, Christina Koch is at Columbus getting ready to install the extra support for the truncheon that will eventually hold a new platform for experiments on the outside of Columbus. Bartolomeo.
Copy. Lock it out with slack.
And that's another task that you're familiar with, right, Anne?
That is correct. Yes, Christina is actually working a task that we attempted to do. David St. Jacques and I attempted to do on a spacewalk in April, and we found that the equipment on the outside of the space station was not in the configuration that we expected. So the equipment that we had to install these slip-off pins wouldn't actually work. So they redesigned them, and Christina is going to install them now on the trunnions. And what they are basically just plugs that go on the end of trunnions, which are kind of empty pipes. If you think about a hollow pipe sticking off the front of space station, that's kind of the best way to picture it. And these slip-off prevention pins are going to go on the end. And then later there's a payload from ESA, from our European partners, that's going to fly up and actually attach onto the trunnions, and this will keep that payload attached.
Be aware there is no soft dock feature.
To get that attached, Christina Koch will be driving 4 bolts, or at least getting them set in, and then tightening them up before she puts one more bolt in the center of the support, the cap that she's putting on the end of the trunnion.
And I am ready for PGT settings.
PGT settings, Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Copy, and I'll be doing a cow, so stand by.
Copy.
Okay, and I see your tether running back along the lab, and mine was caught in my PGT, so I just freed it. And I'm going to head up the lab to starboard.
Copy, Jessica. Good path.
PGT settings Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Christina, those are good PGT settings. Christina, on the TSOP, verify no gap between the TSOP and the trunnion.
Mark? No gap.
Copy, no gap. While maintaining positive force on the TSOP toward the trunnion, we'll be working first with bolt 1. You'll push on the bolt while driving and drive it only 14 turns.
14 turns.
Good readback.
Turn. I am applying, Stephanie, quick report, I am applying downward force, and the T-top itself still floating up. I think maybe the bolt is starting to engage, but the bolt is not rigidly connected to the T-stop. I think this is the feature that we talked about where it's in some threads and it just drops down, and now it's engaging into the trunnion pin. If you agree, I'll keep driving.
We copy the report. Christina, keep driving.
Copy your mark. Turns on bolt 1.
Copy 14 turns on bolt 1. Next is bolt 2. Push on the bolt while driving. Drive bolt 2 only 7 turns.
7 turns for bolt 2. Starting turn. Okay, so I am at the twist in our tether. So right now, Christina's tether is 7 turns, bolt 2.
Copy, Christina, 7 turns, bolt 2. Bolt 3, push on the bolt while driving, 7 turns only.
Seeing a good view here of Jessica working on the tether issue that we've been discussing a little bit. And we talked earlier about how important tethers were. And actually we have a question from one of the online followers with using the Ask NASA hashtag, this one from Arthur, asking what would happen if an astronaut's tether breaks loose, as in that what ties down the astronaut to the space station is broken and the astronaut swings away from the space station.
Yes, that is a scenario that we definitely do not want to get into and that we've trained a lot to avoid. But that is where if you were to completely come off of station without your tether, you have on your back, you can actually see a good shot of Jessica there. Right down by her left hip, you can see kind of a box that's on the bottom of her life support system, and that is actually called the SAFER, the Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue. And that is kind of like a small jetpack that you can use. A hand controller will come out, and you can fly yourself back to the space station. That said, these tethers are actually very robust. They are braided metal, and so it would require a significant amount of force to actually break a tether off of the space station. And we never we never actually are in a scenario that we're not tethered. So we always say make before you break. And so as you see them working with tethers or moving anchors, you're always going to be hear them be very clear about what tether they have down, that it's locked before they undo another tether for their safety.
And so what Jessica is actually working on is we're not worried about it breaking. We just want to get it, it looks like maybe it's tangled a little bit.
That is correct. There's just one twist in it, and this happens all the time. When you think about these two spacewalkers are tethered about the same, their anchors of their tethers are anchored at about the same place, and they have been going all over the space station, 50 meters one direction, 50 meters the other direction, and so it is quite common to get a twist in it. So what they're having Jessica do is just clean up that twist. So a couple ways you can do that. You can move your body back around the safety tether just to take the twist out of it. Or you can anchor another safety tether down and actually undo the safety tether to move it. But no safety concerns here, just more kind of cleaning up the tether so they don't rub on each other.
Is that the kind of thing that you train for in the neutral buoyancy lab?
Yes, absolutely. Tether awareness is actually one of the biggest safety tasks that we train in the neutral buoyancy lab. We always have our tethers. Our tether protocol is very specific. You're going to hear a lot of back and forth between the spacewalkers and the ground as they confirm the configuration. And I can tell you, having been outside, that it's something that you are extremely aware of at all times. You're checking them. The spacewalkers call out a check maybe every 15, 20 minutes, but I guarantee you they're looking at their safety tethers just every couple minutes, make sure they're not caught on anything and that they're in a good configuration.
We actually have another question. This one is not related to tethers or spacewalks at all, but since it is from Jessica Meir's home state, we have one from Sheila. And the third grade students of Kennebec, Maine want to know how long it takes to get to the space station, and they add the hashtag proud of Jessica.
Well, I am proud of Jessica too today, and Christina as well. And she is from Maine, so hello everybody from Maine on Jessica's behalf. So to travel from the surface of the Earth up to the space station, the way that if you were to go directly there, it would take a lot less time. But what we do is we launch from the surface of the Earth. It takes about 9 minutes to get to orbit. So into a place where we are weightlessness and going around the world. And then we play catch-up with the space station. So the space station's on a little bit of a higher orbit, and so we speed up the, currently these astronauts launched on the Soyuz spacecraft, and so they accelerate the Soyuz spacecraft and just kind of chase it using gravity and orbital mechanics, and it took about 6 hours from her to get from the surface of the Earth all the way to the space station.
To have you check it out.
I feel like that is impressively fast.
It is shorter than a lot of road trips we've been on.
Exactly.
11.9 Turk, 7 turns, green light on bolt 3, bolt 4, 6 to 13 turns.
Christina Koch still working on those bolts, getting the cap in place on the trunnion that will hold an external platform for science on Columbus.
Turns, green LED, 11.8 foot-pounds of torque.
11.8 torque, 7.5 turns, green light on bolt 4. Verify no gap between the T-stop and the trunnion.
Gap.
Copy no gap. Install bolt 5 to torque 6 to 9 turns.
Turns on bolt 5, green LED, 12.0 actual torque.
Copy 12 on the torque and green light. Say again turns.
9.
I believe you said 9 turns for bolt 5.
That's affirmative, 9er.
Copy that. Unlock and release the ret from the T-stop. And deconfigure your PGT. Place the 7-inch rigid onto the socket caddy.
Christina Koch. They're finishing up that installation on the trunnion, the cap on the trunnion that will be used for a future platform on the end of the Columbus module for science experiments on the outside of the space station.
The atmosphere out here, then you come through the windows inside. Really incredible view.
Copy that. Very nice.
Jessica Meir taking advantage of a little downtime to get some photos. Crew members now 6 hours and 25 minutes into today's spacewalk. They finished installing the new battery charge discharge unit about 3 hours ago, and we are hearing reports here on the ground now that it is looking good. There is actually charging the batteries, so that is definitely a good sign. Getting a good checkout now that it's installed, and that can be that can be a good report on the spacewalk work done today.
You can bundle up the crew lock bag, head back along your translation route, and picking up your green hook at node 2345. Christina, Jessica, to give you a report on your work today, we show that the battery charge discharge unit is fully powered up and working.
That is awesome news. Thank you. Amazing news, Stephanie. That makes us very happy.
Makes us very happy as well. And we're 1 minute from 22nd LOS.
Copy that.
And Christina, once you have the crew lock bag retrieved and you're happy with its position on your BRT and you show the work site clear, you can start to translate back in and retrieve your green hook.
While we are waiting to get video back from the space station, we have a few more of the good luck messages that have been flooding in. This one from Miss Barkas showing that they are watching the spacewalk in their classroom in Pennsylvania, and thanks for making her story. And also one from Amanda showing her daughter watching the spacewalk. Lots of great messages coming in from all across the country and around the world, letting us know that you're watching. So we appreciate that. Keep sending those in. Here's one from the Girl Scouts. They recently completed the Cadet Space Science Badge and exciting for the mission. Wishing Christina Koch and Jessica Meir safe travels.
Retrieving my green hook.
Copy. Green hook retrieval and work.
Green hook retrieved. Moving on. No one of these translations involves the gap scanner. Jim my way backwards. I believe it's this one.
And we concur. It should be taking you out towards node 2, handrail 332.
I'm not. For the great Garnet. I'm on the node 2 alpha encone. And on the left.
Copy. For Jessica, as you were checking out the safety tethers, can you tell us, did you need to translate onto the CETA cart?
No, I didn't. I stopped just starboard of the CETA cart to get a view because at that point somehow Christina's tether had gotten to the left of me and my tether was on the right of me. But I was able to get it underneath my legs and to the other side, and they're both on the right side. And then I had a good view straight down. So I didn't actually go up on the CETA cart.
We copy. Thank you for the report.
I'm happy to just give them another tap again and just go.
And Jessica, thanks for the offer. If you'd like to, you can, but it's not required.
Okay, copy. Thanks. And I'm at the lab. Starboard start, heading to the student tower.
Copy, Christina.
into the fetus birth.
Copy.
Christina Koch there making her way back to the airlock. Getting close to the end of today's spacewalk. We're at the 6-hour and 36-minute mark, about an hour longer than the spacewalk was originally planned to go, but the crew was able to get a lot done in that time.
Copy.
And I'm at the airlock.
Copy that.
Thermal cover open.
Copy thermal cover open. Can ingress the airlock and attach waist tether to the waist tether on the airlock D-ring extender.
In work. My waist tether is attached to the airlock waist tether. Both large hooks are gate closed fiber lock, and I can confirm that the small hook of the airlock waist tether is still locked on the airlock D-ring extender.
Copy. Checking. Christina, we're in a period of Radicom. We believe you dropped out. We missed the small hook config.
Small hook is gate closed fiber lock of the airlock D-ring extender. That's the small hook of the airlock waist tether. I can also confirm that my small hook of my waist tether is gate closed fiber lock of my left D-ring extender.
We copy. Good config.
And is this where I give Jessica a go?
We're checking. And as a safety precaution, Jessica, we would like you to lock your waist tether first before any further safety tether config.
Okay, copy. That's in work. My safety tether is locked.
And Jessica, I copy. I believe you mean your waist tether is locked. Jessica, I copied. Sorry, we're still in Radicom. And I believe you meant
Jessica, you probably have me okay, right?
I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine between us. I'll just say hi.
Jessica.
No, I think we should wait. Yeah, I do too.
Jessica, we're back with you. Double check your waist tether locked.
Yes, my waist tether is locked.
Copy, we're 30 seconds to a 20-second handover.
Crews making their way back into the airlock, or actually already getting into the airlock, but we're in a period where we don't have video of it at the moment.
Just while that's happening, I'll just give you the lowdown on the airlock. Everything is obviously, not tacked down.
Chris.
And the voice communications with the crew is a little bumpy as well.
When you come in, it'll still be, since that's the final ingress, that'll be when things get cleaned up and a good config for me to come in. Okay, sounds good. In the DCDU. Copy.
Jessica, remove EV1's anchor hook from handrail 3651 and attach it to EV2's red reel.
Okay, copy. That's in work.
Christina, if you've not done so already, you can stow the get-ahead crew lock bag in the airlock.
Okay, I've done that, and now I'm just kind of cleaning up the config in here.
Copy that.
Stephanie, I have removed the twist. I have Christina's anchor hook closed and locked on my red reel.
Copy. Now retrieve your anchor hook from handrail 3650 and stow it on your mini workstation.
Work. My anchor hook is on my mini workstation.
Copy that. You can translate to the airlock.
Copy. And Stephanie, I take it back. I did translate on the the cart coming out here and going back, so I will give those brakes another release.
We copy, Jessica.
Okay, and that is complete on the starboard seat of cart.
Copy. Christina and Jessica, I have some words on Jessica's suit. There is potential to receive a battery volt decay message. That would be BAT V decay on EV2's Jessica's suit. We expect that in perhaps 20 minutes. When that message enunciates, you have 1 hour left of battery power. Connecting the SCU to your DCM fixes the problem.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you. I am coming down the seat of for Christina.
I see you. Welcome back. I am positioned on the aft side.
Looking good.
View here of Jessica Meir making her way back to the Quest airlock, home base for the spacewalk. Christina Koch's already there, hanging out, waiting for her.
Hello.
Nice job. Proud today.
Two.
Sunrise in 2 minutes.
Hey, Christina, you have a go for me to get underneath here and get in?
I believe so. Check with Stephanie, but I believe that's the case.
We concur.
You know, I should have put that bag under a bungee too, but I didn't notice it. It was up. It was up when I was in there before.
I think that will be easy to move around.
Okay.
It might be nice up on the bungee just so it's not interfering with path closure. I only thought if you're able to pop it under. Okay. Without too much hassle. Good. Cool. Pull in, I'll push you up. The top of your foot on the side of the thermal cover hinge. Yeah. And pivot your body good here. I'll push you like that. There you go. I'm still not quite vertical. Yep. Nice. There we go. Nailed it. Okay. I'm not sure how to have this DCDU here. It was tucking up, again, you know, like we were talking about, half, port side, in towards the wall. And I think once you're in, it will be more likely to just sort of stay there. Yeah. Trying to get it back in that position now. Just kind of floating above the UIA. And this, yeah, ORU bag is also in the way. One thing you had to fix a couple of was those scoops that are on it are big tether snags. So if it's ever not going where you want it to go, check the scoop. Okay, copy. So I've got it. You were able to get it the long way up the wall? Yes. Okay. But that was before I put the crew lock bag behind that bungee. But I think you still should, and that would actually help the interference with the crew lock bag. And it might be because, there you go. Yep.
Meir and Cook starting to move back into the Quest airlock. This video coming from Jessica Meir's helmet camera.
Try to get.
Spacewalk won't be considered done, however.
Take your time. I think this is a time and a good investment in our closing airlock ops. So.
Spacewalk won't be considered over, though, until they begin repressurizing the Quest airlock.
Okay, I've got it vertical. I don't think I'm going to be able to get any bungees around it. Were you envisioning?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so either.
I've got it vertical, and then I'm going to try to get this. Or you bag off of the. Okay. So I've got it vertical now. Seems to want to rotate.
This view coming from Christina Koch's helmet camera, looking down into the Quest airlock where Jessica Meir is already inside.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep a hand on it right now. Okay. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to be out of your way enough to ingress. You're definitely enough support, but is it possible to move your feet forward? Yeah, like that. Okay. Yep. I can stay in this position, and I'm holding the DCDU.
Okay, copy. Stephanie, do I have a go to ingress?
Checking. Christina, you have a go to ingress. Friendly reminder to check access to the thermal cover.
And Christina, I did not move that crew lock bag, so if you wanted to, you need to do that.
I'm trying to head first to ingress.
Okay, copy.
And my crew lock bag is in a good spot.
Let me know if you need me to move.
Okay.
Other option, if you're not going to be able to get your feet all the way in because of DCDU, if we put it lengthwise, then you could probably put your feet over it.
Okay, let's try that.
I don't know if that's what's happening right now. That was just a. Looks like you're almost in.
Move my seat port now.
Okay.
So if you're able to see them, let me know if I'm walking them in a bad spot.
Okay, they're right up against, going to be right up against the BDCDU.
Okay.
Can you bring them more toward me? More station
More
forward.
Forward?
Yep.
That.
There you go. You're good. You're underneath the BCDU now. Above you.
Happy? Do you need to come more port? No? Okay, and I'm going for the thermal cover.
Okay, copy. Right now, your feet are in between me and the BCDU.
Okay.
But you have enough room. It's just that you won't be able to move too much in either direction. I'm going to move as far station forward as I can for you. I see your feet. I can help guide them if you want.
Okay.
Will that help? Okay, now they're in between the BCDU and me.
Okay, I see that. Stephanie, thermal cover is closed.
Copy. Thermal cover closed. Nice work. You can remove your SCUs from the stowage pouch.
For both of us then?
That's affirmed for both EV1 and EV2.
Okay, SC is removed from the pouch.
Copy. Remove DCM cover. Velcro to the DCM. And connect your SCUs to your DCMs.
Work.
Once again, we're getting close to the end of today's spacewalk now at just a few seconds under 7 hours. But we're not quite done yet. We won't call it officially over until the crew begins repressurizing the Quest airlock. They are both now back in the airlock, however, and have one part of the hatch closed, the thermal cover that
If I'm going to be able to orient it with that.
that protects the main part of the hatch.
See how it's pulling on the BCDU when I pull my SCU?
I do see that. Mine were not routed correctly either right now. Let me see.
Yeah, I was conflicting a lot of it, but knew it would end up in the end.
I see the rep. Hold on. I'm going to release the rep from the ORU bag. Not going anywhere. I'll reattach it. Okay, I got that rep free.
Copy. Thanks. Okay, my SCU is on and locked.
And I'm going to need to reorient Christina so I can get mine routed correctly.
Okay.